Hey there, this is Linda, and in this video I wanted to share a look through this older personal album that I created. So in addition to my project life and my weekend life and other mini albums, I keep ongoing albums of stories based on theme. And one of those sets of albums I keep in these 9x12 pink albums from Studio Calico. I have so far created 1.5 of these albums. I have another album in my stash when my second album is full, and this is the first one. These albums contain personal stories. This year I actually went smaller and started doing a 6x8 album. So this is my 6x8 album for 2022 with my personal stories, but I have continued adding to the 9x12 as well. Prior to 2022, I was mixing all different page sizes in here. Now I'm doing anything that's larger than 6x8 in this album. So this was the very first one that I started. And when I started this album, I wasn't very consistent in adding to it. My very first page in here is from 2016. And I think I didn't add anything for a long time. So basically what I do is I add pages as I make them in the order that I make them, where it makes sense. So I created this title page using the Me Story Kit. I just colored the Me acrylic word and stamped a background here using the Me Story stamp. And then I have a 6x12 story here from, I think, the Fabric Story Kit, telling a story about scarves. And that was from 2018. This one's from 2016. Most likely it was that was the first time that I created a 6x12 page to fill that spot. So this one was a full 9x12. So basically I just add to the album in the next available spot. And at some point I just decided this one was full. I was ready to move on. And part of that was this page is from 2016. And I just didn't add to this album very much. You can see 2016, 2018. This was my 2018 One Little Word. This was the vision board, and I had decided to make it 9x12. So I kept it in this album rather than my One Little Word album. And I'm like, because I had done a 6x8 that year, and what I probably did was took a photo of it and put it in that album. Here is another reason why I hadn't shared this one with you. This page is just not done. I have these pockets here where I meant to put some photos of me from this time period, and you know what, maybe I will go back and add them in. I know I put this card in. I think this one might be the back of that card, but it still looks nice. If I just added a few more photos, that would really finish this album up, but I just wanted to share it with you guys. Maybe someday I'll do it. Maybe I won't. It's fine. The rest of the album is done. Here I used the first story kit, and I think the Create one, to tell the story of 100 days of knitting, a 100-day project that I did in 2018. And I think that came out of like going back and trying to crush older story kits. This layout, you know, I was just when I randomly decided to do this says, I'm the oldest 31-year-old you'll ever meet, and just kind of journaling about that, something I did in 2018. Here's one with the Fabric Story Kit. I covered up my journaling. In this album, you'll see I do a lot more longer journaling. Sometimes a lot of these are story kits. Some of them are not. And it's very inconsistent when I add to it. It's just when I feel like it. So here's 2019. This is the Habit Story Kit. And I think I did a few with the Habit Story Kit in here. This is another story kit. I don't know, Heart maybe. And I think I shared like this one on Instagram at the time. Here's just a random listen story kit, my current playlist. Another random page about things I'm making. And it's just whenever I felt like adding things. These were like a prompt from one story kit at some point in time. And or some older Ali Edwards kit, and I just went through and typed up some random stories to fill in this page in 2021. So I was actually going back and filling in pockets at that point. Here's another one from the Habit Story Kit. This is 6x8. I would have put this in a 6x8 album now if I was making it, but at the time I just stuck it in here because I only did the one size album. Here's from the You Story Kit, just a very simple page. Some of these are simple, some are not, but pretty much anything that was about me personally that was either more personal or not the current point in time where I wanted to put it in my Project Life album, I'm putting it in here. This was a tracker from 2019 that I did. So this was also just something else that I wanted to keep. And so I put it in this album, even though it's not like a scrapbook page, I do have some other things like that in here. Here's a page I did about things I was currently struggling with. It says the struggle is real, currently struggling with, and I have like 4 topics that I journaled about. These are some emails, like an email from work, where I was congratulated by our commissioner, an article that came out about something I did at work. So I just printed some stuff like that and put it in here. Here is, you know, I think this was like a foodie release that Allie did, where I just journaled and added, I didn't even journal, I added some photos about my love of oysters and some different places that I've had oysters. This was the Play Story kit. I really liked this one. I did this like 2-page spread where I have an 8.5 by 11 on this side and pocket page. And I just found photos of me playing and being silly and doing fun things and just kind of journaled about my playful personality. Here's another article about my job that I put. I'm a tax attorney, so I work for the government. So this was like an article that came out about a case I did. Here's, I think, the Learn Story Kit. Just some journaling of, you know, being a work in progress, trying to crush the kits. Here's another story. This one has some longer journaling going into January of 2020. Kind of an interesting time because we know what happened after that with the pandemic, but at the time I didn't. And just kind of journaling about where my life was going at that point in time. This photo of me. Here's another photo I printed out with the intention to do a page on it, and I never did. But I just have that in here. Here's some random painting thing I did and stuck in here. So these albums are just like, they're kind of a mishmash. Here is my top 10 favorite TV shows as of February 2020. I did this, you know, page. I think this was the Watch Story Kit, the List Story Kit of things that made me smile at this point in time. Here's my current Starbucks order, which is not my order anymore, but at the time that I made this page, it was. Here was a longer page from the Kindness Story Kit. I know this was one I never shared online because it's very simple, but this is something that I've done with a few of the story kits in some other albums as well, where you just take the large word and do like a stamp and then just journal about kind of what that word means to you. So this is just a large typed up page of journaling. And then I stamped the date at the bottom and that's it. The only real embellishment on here was the plastic word. So if you have a lot of those plastic words in your stash, or if you're in like the Just Write, that would be another format to do it. And I feel like I should do that more often because I really love it. And it was a great like journaling prompt. This was the Morning Story Kit. I did some hybrid here and journaled about my love of going to brunch. Transition Story Kit. This is a multi-page spread. I did 2 8.5 by 11 pages here and then printed out a transparency here between the two. And I really love this page. I think this is one of my favorite pages that I've done with story kits. I just love how it came out. And I love this photo of me from hiking. Another one of these trackers, this was 2020. Continuing with the Morning Story Kit, this is the story of like me being a morning person. So I have this flip up where it says I am a morning person here and journaling about what I love about mornings. And then here is a 2-page spread. This was Rome Story Kit about traveling. So I put here, I want to see the world and photograph it. And here's photos of me in all of my travels. So I loved how this one came out. I found photos of me. Some of them I couldn't find a photo of me, but it's me in different places. So they're from different places I've been. So I have Pompano Beach, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, Memphis, Tennessee, Niagara Falls, Ontario, Las Vegas, Nevada, Washington, D.C., San Diego, California, Montreal, Quebec, Acadia, Maine, Key West, Florida, Versailles, France, San Antonio, Texas, London, United Kingdom, Paris, France, Nassau, Bahamas, and Vermont, USA. I need to travel internationally a bit more, but I do have some of that on here, and I love that this is kind of a snapshot of a lot of places that I have been in my life or my adult life, and I would like to do another one of these once I get to travel a bit more. And then I finished out this album with a reflection of the books that I read in 2020. This is something I like to do, a page like this every year, reflecting on the books I read. For 2021, I included it in my December daily album, but I kind of just decided this was the end of this album. I mean, maybe I could fit a few more pages, but I think it's pretty full, and it runs from 2016 through 2020. My next album, which I started in 2021, is a lot more full than this one, but I'm still working on it and adding to it. And at some point I will just say, you know what, that one's done. I haven't done anything on the outside of the album. I will probably put like Me Volume 1 or something in here at some point. You can see this album has kind of faded a little bit from the sun because I've had it sitting around since 2016 out on a shelf. But I love having these personal albums to have a place to store my me stories and something to keep in mind when you're scrapbooking, who's gonna look through your albums. So my Project Life albums are more like those, I keep those in the living room. I journal in them as if anybody could read it. And this one is a little more personal, and I keep it in my craft room because these are my me stories. And you know, I am someone who likes to write a lot, but I don't keep a diary. So my scrapbooking is my version of that. So that's kind of what this type of album serves as. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. And I will at some point share some of my more current ones once I complete those albums. Thanks for being here. Bye.